All right, hi algebra students. Today we're going to be working on multiplying special product polynomials. I'm going to share my screen here with you and get the presentation started. You're going to want a piece of paper because the warm-up requires you to do a little work there. So go and grab your paper, pause the video, and give these a try. All right, let's look at number 1 here on the warm-up. And then we'll talk about some things maybe that you notice. So this one, hopefully you got x squared minus 9. All right, kind of unusual, right? Yesterday when we were multiplying, we'd have those 3 terms, right? We'd have the first, outside, inside, last, but when we combine our like terms, we're left with just x squared minus 9 on this one. Number 2, hopefully when you simplified, you got 4x squared minus 25. Again, no middle term, kind of unusual. All right, number 3, this time we should have x squared minus 8x plus 16. All right, and lastly, we have x squared plus 14x plus 49. All right, the other thing I want to point out on these last two, let me grab my pen here a second, I'm going to switch colors. One thing I'd like you to notice is that we have this written as x minus 4 times x minus 4, but that could have also been written as a single expression as x minus 4 quantity squared, right? X minus 4 times x minus 4. Or if I look at this one, I could have written this multiplication of these binomials as x plus 7 squared, right? So be careful when if you see it in this form, remember that this means x plus 7 times x plus 7. All right, let's talk about some things we notice. Notice when I have x squared minus 9 here as my final answer, the reason why that happened is that these expressions were the same except for this little part right here. We had 1 plus and 1 minus, and that meant those middle terms disappeared, and we just had the first term squared minus the last term squared. Same thing here. Notice the signs are opposite. So our final expression is the first term squared, so 2x times 2x is 4x squared, minus the last term squared. 5 squared is 25. These are a little different, all right? This time the pattern, maybe you notice, is that our first term is this squared, x squared. Our last term is this number squared, positive 16. This number in the middle comes from, if I multiply negative 4 times x, I get negative 4x, and if I double it, I have negative 8x. Same thing here. First term squared, x squared. Last term squared, 49. Where does the 14 come from? 7x plus 7x, 14x, right? We doubled that middle product. Kind of just a neat thing to notice. Alrighty, so we have the square of a binomial pattern on page 216, and we just kind of talked about it there in the warm-up. So make sure you write it down. So look in your journal, write down the square of a binomial pattern. I'll actually go ahead and do it here. So if I have, and we can do I'll just put it in the terms of their algebra. So if we have a plus b squared, the pattern's going to be a squared in the beginning, b squared at the end, and what's in the middle? It is 2 times a times b, right? And that's always our pattern. Even if they are being subtracted, we're going to have the same idea. Sum and difference pattern. We'll talk about that. All right, this is still square of a binomial. So we have first term squared, a squared. Last term squared, positive b squared. Notice when you square a negative, you still get a positive. And then our middle, this time is going to be negative 2ab. So that's our pattern. All right, remember, if you don't see the pattern, you can always write this as just a plus b times a plus b and do your FOIL. It'll still work. All right, so sum and difference pattern that it's talking about is if I have these 2 binomials and the only thing that's different about them is that sign in the middle. So one is positive and one is negative. The pattern I should see there is that it's going to be the first term squared, a squared, minus the last term squared, a squared minus b squared. So if I had something, and I think they have an example in your book, x plus 3 times x minus 3, the quick way to do that is first term squared, x squared, last term squared, 9. What's the sign? Minus. Notice whenever you multiply these, you're always going to get a negative because a positive times a negative is a negative. All right, let's take a look at some extra practice on page 217. So first one, all right, this time it's the square of a binomial pattern. So we're going to have our a squared as our first term. We're going to have positive 9 at the end. And our middle term is formed with 2 times a times 3, or 2 times 3a. So our final answer is a squared plus 6a plus 9. Okay, so again, it's first term squared, a squared, last term squared, 9. Where does the middle come from? A times 3, double it. Okay, this is the doubling here, this 2. All right, let's look at number 3. Again, the pattern is c squared at the beginning, 4 squared, 4 times 4, 16 at the end. What's in the middle? 4 times c, and we double that. So 2 times 4c, which is going to be c squared plus 8c plus 16. All right, let's look at 11. This is the sum and difference. Remember, these are nice. You end up with first term squared minus the last term squared. Q squared minus 25. All right, same thing here. T squared minus 11 times 11, 121. Okay, so those are fast when you see those. All right, your assignment today is on page 375. It's number 7-3. The link to this textbook pages is in Schoology. If you have any questions, you can email me. Good luck.